Guys, I kind of realised I haven't done one of these videos in like quite a while, um, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about my books. I've been kind of going crazy like over the last few weeks, the last few months really, with writing my sequel. My first one I'm submitting to publishers and agents and things, and I'm currently writing the sequel. It's about a girl who's kind of an android, and she doesn't want to be controlled by this kind of scientist that built her and all of these other androids. It's young adult fiction, there's romance, there's like quite a lot of action scenes which are quite fun to write. I think the last time I did one of these kind of videos I was writing the first one, or going over my last amount of drafts on my first one before submitting, and I think that was about August last year, which is really bad. But I'd like to do a lot more of these because, like I said, I'm now on the sequel and I'm quite the way through it. I have a lot of changes that I will be making probably once I've reached the kind of part that I want to reach with the story. So I'll talk about that a lot more later on and stuff and keep updating. But I'm just having a lot of fun writing it and trying to get through it and try and get it to the kind of places that I want it to go to. I did do a lot of it for NaNoWriMo, but I ended up quitting it, but I continued with the project or the work, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's like kind of sci-fi fantasy with one of my characters is betrothed to a prince, a metal prince. All these characters are known as metals, and yeah, I've got like so many ideas. The first one is like its final draft is completely finished, so the second one that I'm currently writing is kind of like 3/4 of the way through towards, but I'm not really a meticulous planner. Like, it's quite strange. I have been with the last couple of books in the series that I want to write very recently. I outlined a lot, but I kept getting all these ideas, so I kept writing them down, and I was thinking about it this morning. I think it's like writing a book is kind of like little jigsaw pieces that you kind of fit together with plot I'm talking about anyway. They kind of just, you have to find the right kind of links to put them together. Like, why did this happen? Why did this happen? What could it be the cause of this? Oh, this could have happened, you know. And then it kind of leads on into something bigger later on, but there are different kind of reasons for it happening, and like they can be quite complex, and I love it when I'm sitting there just like on the bus, or just when I'm at home, or just when I'm, I don't know, listening to music, and I start getting all these ideas for how I want it to go and how I want the story to be, and I just love doing that. I just love sitting there, or sometimes it's when I'm going for a walk and I get fresh air. It's usually just when I'm sitting there having kind of like thinking time, really, which I do a lot of. I'm always in my own little world, as everybody who knows me well knows. But I love it, and I love just having my personal space and my personal time to just sit and think about my projects and where I want them to go. And it's really, really nice to be able to say that I finished the final draft of the first one, and that the second one is actually going really well and a lot better than I expected to. Because I think about the middle way through the plot, it kind of changed completely from where I was thinking of taking it, because I wasn't completely sure. Like I said, I'm not a meticulous planner. I like to just kind of see where the story takes me, and then I'll go back and change it completely later on, which I did with the first one. Because the first time I wrote my first draft ended up being like a completely different book by the time that I'd kind of finished the rest of them. But I was so much happier with it, and I just kept going back and putting in scenes that could work, and putting more links in for kind of like the history of why the things that are happening now happened, and the leads up to them, the character background histories, which can also be the like these certain links, which are really fun. But yeah, I'm just having loads of fun with it. I'm kind of like, sometimes I'm in the mood to just write it all the time, and I sit down and write for ages, but sometimes it takes me a long time to actually get myself into it. But then when I do get into it, I can't stop myself, and my hand just won't. I love those moments. But they're a bit rare at the minute, which isn't good. There used to be times when I was at uni, like in holidays, whatever, when I wasn't doing my assignments, or when I was working on my assignments sometimes, and then I was working on my book, like, you know, other times. And I just sit in the uni library, like after I come home from work or whatever, and just, I was able to just like sit and write till like 2 a.m. Which I don't do anymore because it makes me really tired, as people at my work then would have known. But yeah, I do as much as I can when I come home. I use my days off. Writing is a big thing for me, and like big part of my life, and I think I'll always do it. It's a lot of fun as well. It gives me a little bit of a buzz. Sometimes I feel really bad when I'm talking about my books, and like I feel like I'm talking for ages to family and people things, and they just don't want to hear it all the time, which is fair enough. But that's why you make the most of Facebook and Twitter and things like that. It's just another way of expressing it, getting all these big thoughts out. Sometimes you just really need. But yeah, I think I said in one of my previous videos recently that like one of my books changed into a potential 3-book series or a trilogy to a 4-book series, because my third book was going to be jumped forward a bit into the future from where the end of the second book is. But I've kind of realised that I need to put a lot more in than that. So I ended up creating a book that goes in between those 2 spaces, basically, which I'm going to be working on soon. I have the title for it, and I have the character's kind of voice, because each book is kind of represented by different characters, first person voices. Like the first one is literally just Silver, the first android girl who discovers what she is, because she's always believed herself to be normal. The second book is her and the daughter of the creator, who's also an android. And the third book will be the first girl's kind of love, but also who is also this other girl's brother. It makes more sense if you read it. But the third book is going to be his voice, and then I think the fourth one will be the baby sister of those 2 siblings. Like they all have completely different abilities. There are other androids like them. I'm going to include them a lot more when I go back and rewrite the second book, because I wanted to include them a lot more than I did in this first draft. But I was always very kind of intent on sticking to like these personal characters that I'm writing and what they're doing, but I want to involve the other characters more, because I don't think I did enough of that. So I will see where it goes. I'm absolutely loving it, like I said, and I can't wait to go into the third book, but I want to make sure that the final draft is done of the second one once I've gone over it like plenty of times and looked at it and make sure the plot's all there, and I'll work on the voice and the characters and the history and generally the grammar and the writing kind of style and everything I need to look at. Because there's a whole lot to it that I need to work on, but when it's done, hopefully I'll be proud of it, just like I'm proud of the first one. And I will come back and give you more updates soon. But yeah, let me know if you're writing any novels down below, and let me know what your kind of ideas are for your books, and we can discuss it. I'd love to find more writers. Thanks guys, bye.